I can't do anything.
Oh, okay. Yo, once again, it is the Crossover Sports Podcast, episode 2. We're starting. It's 9 Eastern time on our snowy East Coast. We have a debut guest star in this boy over here, the Hollywood and the
Check it out,
family.
check it out, check it
All
out.
right,
Bless
all right,
Watson
no,
out here.
oh
Check
my
me out, check it
God.
out, check it out, check it out. What's up, world? What's up?
Okay. So, I'm Kylan, joined by my esteemed brother over here, Bless Watson. He wants me to tell you all the tech about the real Bless Watson. All right, that's our little shouts out for today. I'm joined by my friend, the debuting Reno.
What's
Reno.
up,
So
bro?
go ahead and introduce yourself, Reno.
What's up, guys? Reno, good friend of Kylan's from Georgetown, and been out and hope to put some new perspective, I guess, on some of the questions of the day. I guess got plenty of hot takes, very controversial guy, and hope y'all have some fun.
It's the Georgetown. Yep, it's the Georgetown takeover. It's the Georgetown takeover once again. Go ahead, Amina.
Hi everyone, it's Amina joining everyone for another week on a snowy Friday. We have some topics to talk about today, and we're going to be tackling them.
All right, y'all know how we start this, John. It is sorry, y'all. I'm accessing my Philly. This is y'all know how we start this thing. Sorry, I'm a not say John today. You know how we start this thing. We start with our crossover hot takes. These are our topics that are usually that most of the time are sports related, but this is where we get our local, our political. Depends on what's going on. So, we have our first question on the NFL. So, guys, will there be a healthy team left when the NFL playoffs start? Now, y'all know why I'm asking this question. My Eagles took a hit because of Carson Wentz's leg injury. We're gonna get into that in a minute. But that's what's leading to this question because nobody's healthy. The Ravens lost their best quarterback. Uh, I know the Jaguars got something going on with them. They tried to find a quarterback. That's Reno's Jaguars.
Yeah, that's right.
We got Amina's team is trying to make the playoffs. The Raiders. Lost Amari Cooper. Well, all our teams got injuries or are looking for a quarterback in some way, somehow. So, will there be a healthy team left in it when the playoffs start? Go ahead, Rita.
Will there be a healthy team when the playoffs start? To be quite honest, the Jags actually are doing pretty well. We lost a bunch of our receivers, to be true, but let's be real, we didn't want to throw the ball anyway. But the defense actually is entirely healthy, and that's all that really matters. That's what's going to take the team elsewhere. And it doesn't look. I mean, I hope nobody gets injured in the next 3 weeks. Obviously, we can't really tell that for certain. But Jags, I think, are the healthiest team going into the playoffs. They've started all except for the last 2 weeks when Telvin Smith got injured. They've started the exact same 11 people every single week. I think that might be a record, but they're looking pretty good going into the playoffs. Other than them, I haven't really heard of any killer injuries the Patriots have suffered. So they're looking pretty healthy. Same with the Steelers as well. I can't really remember anything going on there. Obviously, the Eagles are kind of screwed right now, and the Vikings have had their QB issues. But I think like those three teams, the Jags, the Patriots, and Steelers are all looking good heading to the playoffs.
Well, the Steelers lost their middle linebacker to a back injury.
Oh yeah, forgot about Ryan Shazier, but hopefully he's doing well. But I mean, I think that football's a pretty violent game. But if you're going into the playoffs with only like one of your starting guys gone, you're in pretty good shape as long as it's not your QB.
Why you gotta rub it in, man? Why you gotta rub it in? Why you gotta
I
rub it
mean,
in?
I'm a big Nick Foles fan. I think I remember that season he had under Chip Kelly. What do you have, like 27 touchdowns and 2 interceptions or something?
I do remember. I remember that, but that was 4 years ago. This is 2017.
I mean, 4 years ago, I don't think it's been that long. 4 years ago, I was like a junior in college.
Exactly. Four, 4 years, 4 years ago, 4 years ago, you and I were still on the same campus.
Has been that long. I think Foles can turn back the clock. He's got a good offensive line. He's got weapons. He can do some
Yeah,
damage.
yeah, hopefully. All right, Amina, go ahead.
Hello, can y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, I heard a lot of noise, sound like static and a copy machine, something. Um, Question about the playoffs with um, will there be a healthy team when the NFL playoffs start? Playoffs start just about 3 weeks from tomorrow. Just about wild card games will be going on. Um, Going into the playoffs, we're looking at the Steelers. They're good so far. The Patriots, they're okay. Jaguars, they're doing well. Eagles, they took a blow with Carson Wentz. Who else? Team? Vikings possibly, and maybe one other team. I've noticed that last several weeks there's been players that have been going down, in crucial games or in teams that are going to the playoffs. And me and you had discussed that this past week about how it's happening to one team after another. But I believe that there will be some healthy teams when the playoffs start. I think the Patriots, the Steelers should be okay, and a few others. But I don't know what's going on this season. Like it was injuries from the jump, but preseason started. So I don't know, but it's like one player on each team that has playoff chance this season to get injured, whether it's a quarterback, wide receiver. It's very interesting, and it's impacted how everyone thought the playoffs would have been. So it will be healthy teams, but the playoffs aren't going to be like how people imagine them to be.
All right. Andre, I don't know if you're ready, but the question we on is, will there be a healthy team when the playoffs start in the football? Will there be a healthy team when the playoffs start in the NFL? Andre, you there?
Yeah, what's up, y'all? Sorry, that noise was me when I first jumped on. Nah, I don't think it's gonna be no healthy teams. I mean, it's just the nature of the game. Like they say, football is a violent game. So, like, if your team skates through without injuries, consider yourself blessed. That's it. But I think it makes it more interesting because we get to see players that we don't normally get to see, and some people step up to the plate, some people to the plate. But I still think it's gonna be great no matter what. It's like Michael Vick was talking about when he was like the Browns went to overtime last week. I forget who they played, but he wins in this league. Like even teams is 2-12, they gonna show up. Like they're not gonna just hand you the victory. So, I look forward to the playoffs. I can't wait.
Yeah, yeah, excuse that in the background if you hear it. That's my brother playing Kingdom Hearts. Shouts out to all you Kingdom Hearts fans.
Allegedly.
Anyway, uh, yeah, will there be a healthy team left in the playoffs? Well, like I said to start this joint off, my team took a huge hit with Carson Wentz going down with a torn ACL. Uh, get well soon, Carson. As Reno said, no, I'm gonna have faith. You know, it's the year of the backup quarterback. Besides Jacksonville, who else? New England and Pittsburgh. It's the year of the backup quarterback. So I'm confident our defense will carry us and everything. I know we ain't on the Eagles centric question yet, but no, there won't be a healthy team left. Like everybody got some type of injury. With the Eagles, you know, it just so happens to be a litany of people. With the Steelers, it's Shazier. With the Steelers, well, I mean, with the Patriots, it's their defense. Especially if you saw them just get lit up against Reno's rival team in Florida, the Dolphins.
Dolphins are not rivals, man.
I know, but for the sake of this argument, man, yeah, by Reno's sister team in Florida, the Dolphins. Who else? Who else? I mean, they're not really hurt, but y'all know. I mean, if you watch that defense, that defense on Monday. Who else? The Ravens lost Jimmy Smith. That's Courtney's team. Everybody's team got injuries. If you try to go to the playoffs, your team has some type of devastating injury. So, you know, the Jacksonville Jaguars just happen to be lucky, even though they lost Allen Hurns. So you forgot about that one.
I mean, I forgot about that. Robinson's been gone since like week 1, and Hurns, honestly, I don't even think is very good. So, like D.D. Westbrook, Keelan Cole, Pete's Lee, it's good enough. Fournette's banged up. Chris Ivory does pretty much the same exact thing he does, and I think Fournette will be good for the playoffs. So I'm not too concerned.
All right. So yeah, everybody. Yeah. So this is just a bad year. In the NFL and the NBA, injuries galore, man, and it's a shame, but it is what it is. All right, y'all. Moving on to our next topic. We're gonna get political for a minute. No, we're not gonna talk about the tax bill, even though I know we could, but we're not talking about that right now. We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait for a little bit on that one. We're gonna talk about no. We're not talking about the sugar tax, Chris. We're gonna wait. We're gonna talk about that dynamic victory that had us all celebrating. Black women stopped Alabama, and I'm sorry, nah, not sorry. But I'm gonna throw this one in here. I saw my Facebook post. Black women and black men saved Alabama from being called Pedobama. So you know what? So we're going there. Doug Jones' victory. What's our reaction to that? Reno, go ahead. What's your reaction?
Want to hear some real hot takes, Kylan? Because I don't think you're going to agree with me. So I think that there's some good news and bad news for Democrats, like nationwide. Obviously, it's a good thing that they won in Alabama. They've got to be very happy about that. They have a Senate seat, one that they had. You know, it's freaking Alabama. They could have never possibly expected to win that. Jeff Sessions won that seat uncontested. So, like, you know, it's a great victory. The thing about it is that I'm not sure how much it signifies because, like, they, as you mentioned, they turned out African Americans at the rate at which they voted for Obama in 08 and 012. And not 012, 12, right? So I forget what the exact numbers are, but they turned about the exact rate. But Barack Obama lost Alabama by 30 points both times that happened, right? So what really happened in Alabama is that white voters who normally vote Republican nonstop either voted for Doug Jones or just didn't show up and vote. Because you don't turn around a 28-point loss to a 1-point victory without that happening. And even more concerning, I think, which is why it's hard to create any nationwide trends or anything like that, is one, like they were running against a child molester. I don't think that in their wildest imaginings they could have possibly expected a better candidate to run against than a crazy guy who's also a child molester. And second, in 2012, when Barack Obama lost Alabama by 29 points or 30 points, I forget exactly which, when he lost Alabama by 29 points, Roy Moore only won his race against some random dude by 4 points. It was 52-48. That means that in total, for voting for Roy Moore, approximately like 4 percentage points of voters in Alabama really switched. And that's kind of pathetic when you realize that they were running against a child molester. That only 4% of voters really stayed home or switched their ballots. When you compare like 2012 to 28 to this Senate election, so Democrats won. It's good for them. It's very hard to like forecast anything national with such a bizarre race, in my opinion. And I mean, you know, if you look at it, it went from 52 to 48 in 2012 when they were running against Roy Moore to, I think, barely 50% to like 49%. That's what I got.
Hey, dog, it's the age of Trump, man. We gotta get used to weird. Weird is the era we're in. We're in the era of weird. My brother dimmed the lights. Go ahead, y'all. I mean, go ahead, Andre.
I definitely think Alabama showed up. Well, we always know that in order for change to occur, there has to be white voters that change their mind, or like my man said, Reno said, they just didn't come. They probably were sick of the political system and all the lies and all the deceit, just the fighting, the bickering back and forth. But you would think at this state, like at this level, that people wouldn't go back and forth and be so petty. You'd be wrong. Oh, forgive me too. I forgot the mayor's name in our congratulations last week. Keisha Lance Bottoms. I'm still proud of that. Yeah, like we said, we always proud to see a step forward and progress and somebody of color, especially from her background. Um, but yeah, I'm so happy for Alabama. I'm so happy for the people that spoke up and people that just showed up and voted. Especially the African American community. They really showed up.
Go ahead. I mean,
Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yeah, we hear you. We're just muted.
All right, just making sure. Okay. Alabama Senator raised. Roy Moore lost. Good for that. Doug Jones. Um, I was more so on the side. I'm not from Alabama. I've never lived there. But, from all the media press I've heard about both candidates, I strongly do not want Roy Moore in, and he lost. That's good. Doug Jones got in. But outside of that, like with any politician, they have this grandiose campaign where all this money's donated to them. They go on tour, speak to all these people, give all these promises. Election day come, everybody flock into the polls, they vote, person wins, and usually after somebody gains a seat of power, as I made in my Facebook post this week, they're usually elected officials that gain seats of power. They are nowhere to be found after election day. They only turn up, when the next campaign season comes. So Doug Jones, so many people wanted him to win in Alabama and is also around the country. So I believe that Doug Jones has a responsibility and is accountable for every campaign promise he made to the people of Alabama. He's not just a regular politician like a mayor or city council. He's a senator, which means that he represents the state of Alabama on a federal level. Um, the demographics that turned out for both candidates were the direct opposite of one another. Um, Mostly Caucasian males from the statistics I looked at voted for Roy Moore, and mostly black individuals, particularly black women, voted for Doug Jones, which says a lot. It shows what the different demographics in Alabama desire for their political representatives. Um, what else? It is very disappointing that a majority of Caucasian people in Alabama had put their vote towards this confirmed monster to, as a child molester and sexually harassed and assaulted women. Like, from my research, he violated girls as young as 13 and 14 when he was in his 30s, 40s. So it's like, why was this fool allowed to run in the first place if this is known? But that's the times we live in. That's every day with people that got money and power. But Doug Jones, the number one reason why I supported him winning this seat for senator is because in 1963 he was one of the very few Caucasian politicians in '63 that pushed for the conviction and incarceration of the Klansmen that murdered the four girls in Birmingham at the 16th Street Baptist Church. So he fought tooth and nail in a time where Caucasian people didn't suffer any consequences for their actions against black people. I mean, '63, that was only 8 years after Emmett Till, and that was in nearby Mississippi. So it goes to show a lot about where Doug Jones comes from in his life as far as his personal feelings, what he fights for. So I believe that if he continues, honoring his word and keeping his word, that the people of Alabama that voted for him will be pleased. But like I said, he has to come through now because the honeymoon phase is over with the hoopla of winning and all that. Now's the hard work where you have to show up. I mean, same people that voted you in can vote you out if you don't make do with your word. So be the best that you can be, because not only did people in Alabama support you, but you got people all over the country that wanted you to beat Roy Moore did. So it's time to, get to work, make make sure that laws are passed in Alabama that are beneficial for all, serve the people of Alabama, regardless to their race or socioeconomic status, you know. But I'm happy for Doug Jones. He has proven himself in his history to have the potential to not settle for anything and to go all out for what he believes. So I wish him nothing but success, and we'll see how his um, senator life goes.
So let me tell you this. So instead of being a good sports fan on Tuesday and watching the Sixers play the Timberwolves in that amazing game that they had, y'all know what I was doing? I was sitting there like I lived in Alabama, rehashing 2016 all over again, watching that race with popcorn in hand, with anxious participation, thinking, Lord Jesus, we're not going to do this again, and I don't even live in Alabama. As I told Rito, this is the age of Trump, so you might as well get used to weird things happening. Now, I don't live in Alabama. I didn't vote in Alabama. And before I say what I'm going to say, we're having a little bit of fun calling things Pedobama, and and that's what I should say.
I applaud you for that because we all should have been watching like that.
But what I should say is that nobody hear the crossover podcast. I'm going to speak for everybody here. You can add Kyler W. Watson, especially if you're not a conservative, an extreme conservative. You can add me if you want. I was having fun with y'all this morning about different things when it comes to biases on both sides. But that's what I want to say first. Then next, now Doug Jones and any other race. Reno pointed it out. He's our stats guy. He went over all the stats and how this was a weird race. You know, they lost Alabama because of a lot of things. Roy Moore.
Not a lot of things. It was Roy Moore. Like that's the only reason.
All right, Roy Moore. Because of Roy Moore and because of all the stuff that came out with him and the women, we're not going to rehash that. I'm just going to say that I'm very happy about Doug Jones. And what I will say about this, and what should have a lot of people concerned is, see, there are, as Reno said, you can't really take anything from this race, but it's been pointed out to me in the research that I've done and in what I've watched on CNN and different other news outlets I've done research on. A lot of the trends, though, mirrored Virginia a little bit. Now, obviously, Virginia is a little bit more democratic than Alabama, but a couple of the trends persisted from Virginia to here, right? Democrats were over, as Reno pointed out, overperformed in different demographics in Virginia, just like they did here. The specific ones that come to mind are the black women, and don't know that they also had record turnout among young people. So the Obama coalition, if that's what you want to call it, I just call it the Wolf Coalition, but they want to call it the Obama coalition. Like this coalition hasn't existed before Obama, but I'll let them live. You know, they still build up in record numbers. That's a trend that repeated from Virginia. And you know, Alabama tried, man. They even said even before the race that they were black people that couldn't vote in certain precincts. They were shut it down. They were doing some suppression, and still somehow Doug Jones won. Now let me say this: in any other state, not Alabama, if I told you that a guy who prosecuted the KKK for one of their most domestic terroristic acts of bombing a church, right, is running for a Senate position, right? And he's facing a guy who's an accused child molester, right? Who has been confirmed, been banned from a mall, right? And I tell you, that guy who's the KKK who prosecuted KKK members only won a state by 1 percentage point. You would tell me, well, he should have won by more than that. What state was it, right? It's Alabama. That's my point. In any other state, right? That's not Kentucky, Mississippi, or Alabama. And I'm sorry, Reno, even Florida. But that would be a blowout anywhere. Now that would be a blowout most likely in any state where the people think. Now Alabama, and we're not gonna get there, but I really don't like the fact that speaking of Doug Jones, I think the people that took the biggest L were conservative Christians, and specifically the conservative Christians I'm talking about are guys by the last name of Falwell, Robertson. Who else was dying on the sword? Famous conservative families over there. Falwell, there's another one that I'm missing. But you know, all the people taking L's over here trying stuff where clearly is wrong. Talking about some, he's my candidate. He's a candidate of God, and he gonna win. My God, y'all on one. But I'm happy for Doug Jones. It sounds like he did a really good job. Like I said, I don't live in Alabama. I don't think anybody on this panel right now lives in Alabama. But you know, I'm happy for him. I hope he keeps his promises. I know they were saying that he wasn't just talking to black people; he was talking to the poor people up in rural Alabama. Oh, and it should be mentioned because I know that somebody's going to hear a bunch of people of color talking about Alabama and saying, well, "What about those liberal bastardization cities?" Let's be clear. Alabama, the state that we're talking about, I just found this out. I can't believe I didn't know this before the election started. Alabama is UN levels of poor. Matter of fact, the UN designated Alabama the poorest place in the world. Like, that's a UN designation of Alabama. And that's a Republican-run state. So I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, the cities are so poor. Oh, Philadelphia is this. Oh, Chicago is this. If you live in one of the poorest states in the world, shut up. like let's be real. I really wasn't trying to bring that up, but let's be real. Right? Now, this is a state that has a lot of problems. I'm happy they got Doug Jones in there because, let's be honest, he was the sensible candidate. And as Reno pointed out, he was running against Roy Moore. But, this is one of the few times in 2017 where logic wins. This is one of the few times where I can actually say in 2017, and anybody on the panel can correct me if I'm wrong. I know Reno will. That I feel logic has won in 2017 because there's been a lot of illogical decisions, especially this week. Net neutrality, but there's been a lot of stupid decisions this week, and this is the first time that I can remember in 2017 that logic wins. So I'm happy. I'm glad the Alabama voters, specifically young people and the people of color, showed up, made that state blue. I'm not going to get used to it because I know come 2020 it'll be red again. But I'm happy we're going to take this victory. That's what we're going to do. All right, so moving right along, unless somebody got something to add. Y'all good? I'm going to take that as a yes. Going on to number 3, my heart was aching. If you heard somebody screaming, it was Philadelphia at the end of that game when we saw what happened to our beloved quarterback. So I'm going to start my reaction to Carson Wentz's injury. Initially when I saw that he took that hit to the lower part of his leg, I was all like, he's all right. He's all right. He's all right. And the only reason I knew something was wrong was when he threw that pass that I swore hit the ground to Alshon Jeffrey. I was all like, he never throws the ball that low. Everybody knows if they've ever watched Carson Wentz play football, they know that when Carson Wentz misses throws, he misses them high. This one was a really low throw that looked like it should have been on a baseball field. That's how low of a throw it was, right? And that's when I knew something was wrong with Carson Wentz. And then they were saying ACL. I didn't want to believe it, but it was true. And he had a torn ACL. My reaction is, why does this continue to happen to prominent Philadelphia athletes, man? They did a history. It happened to Donovan McNabb. It happened to Randall Cunningham. It just happens to all our good quarterbacks. It really does. It happened to 3 of our greatest. And I know Carson Wentz just started his career, but it happened to 2 of our greatest Eagles, Randall Cunningham and Donovan McNabb, right? And that was happened to Carson Wentz. They say he might not be mobile. I really hope that he is. It's happening to way too many quarterbacks. These injuries to their lower legs. It happened to Teddy Bridgewater. Who knows if he'll ever be the same? We got certain quarterbacks that are scared that are different things. But this is terrible, man. That's my quarterback, to borrow a phrase from T.O. And I'm so upset because I won't get to see my man make his playoff debut and become the face of the league. I'm not going to say that the Eagles are going to make the Super Bowl. I'm a cynical Eagles fan. I believe, but my belief is based in rationale. But I still think they can go far in the playoffs. They might not make a Super Bowl now, but I still believe they can go. I have faith in Nick Foles. Even though before we got on air, I told Reno it's not 2013, and that Nick Foles might not show up. He might show up. He faces the Giants, a perfect team to go off on this week. Carson Wentz, man. My reaction is this: why must the good guys always get injured? That's my thing. The good, young, talented players are all injured. It's just a shame. Go ahead, Reno.
I mean, it's kind of funny when you're talking about like good players, and you mentioned Donovan McNabb, who has been caught sexually harassing people and is probably going to get fired and should be in prison. But digressing from the latest person caught up in the Pervnado storm, I mean, like, The Eagles, I mean, losing Carson Wentz is huge, honestly. Like, there's no way to say it. They went from the prohibitive favorites in the NFC. I didn't think anybody was going to catch them to, uh, I mean, I think they're still the favorite, honestly. I don't believe in the Vikings at all. I don't. I refuse to believe in Case Keenum. I saw him get thoroughly destroyed by Blaine Gabbert last year, and I will never trust the man ever again. So I don't believe in Case Keenum. I don't believe in the Vikings. I still think that the Eagles are going to the Super Bowl. The team's too balanced. There are too many weapons, and I think Nick Foles is one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. I just don't see them winning a Super Bowl, though. It's a big issue. Because I think the teams in the AFC, at least the top three teams as it currently stands, are just a QB play and better defense. So it's a huge loss, obviously, because I think they went from being Super Bowl favorites to having a tough time. But I still think they get there. I'm a little bit more optimistic than you are about their situation.
I agree with you at some points, but I like the fact that you keep the faith. Um, I still keep the faith that they can win the Super Bowl. I need you and Colin to get on that bandwagon because if you're gonna be a fan, just be all in. Like you're gonna get your heart broken, especially the Eagles. Shoot, if the Browns thing is we still have faith. Why the hell can't we still have faith? That's the part that always scratches my brain. Like, it's a sport. Like, we in. You know, if we lose, I understand AFC teams is, top tier and all that. Great, good for them. I seen a Broncos team with a quarterback that could barely throw a pass 25 yards, win the Super Bowl straight off of defense. I've seen Eli Manning stomp the so-called GOAT twice in the Super Bowl. He can't beat the Giants when Eli's game. I was really sad to see Carson Wentz go down. I agree that Nick Foles he's hands down the best backup quarterback in the league. I can't think of nobody else. It's hard for me to even think of other teams' backups. Like, because when I think of him, I'm like, this guy's really nobody. He's not even that good. I really think our team is well-rounded and they're motivated. Listen, our record speaks for itself. I think we're going to be fine. We're going to take it one game at a time. I love Doug's mentality. I love the defense mentality. I love Jim Schwartz's mentality. I couldn't see it going any other way but positive. If I get my heart broken, I get my heart broken.
Mina?
Concerning Carson Wentz injury, it was very unfortunate. We were both watching that game at the same time, and we were talking about it like literally when it happened. And it was just it's disappointing. I mean, this is his second year with the team. He's doing way better than he did last season, and for his season to basically just end in a matter of seconds with 3 games left before playoffs, it truly derailed his whole plans. Um, and what you had mentioned about something always happening to the young players, like the quarterbacks or whatever, I think it's a part of the football culture, or so to speak. I mean, it happens while they're young. They have a crazy injury, and it defines their career. They bounce back from it, and they eventually become more successful than they would have before. I think it's more like a push or drive outside of it being an unfortunate injury. But it was very disappointing. I mean, they came so far, worked so hard, traveled, won all these games, and for him to go down like that, it's like, wow. And it reminded me when I had mentioned it to you, Kylan, about my team last season when Derek Carr went down, when we had a 12-4 record last year, I think it was our last game of the season where we won the game against the Indianapolis Colts, 33-25. I think the score was, and he hasn't truly bounced back from that. We made it to the playoffs the first round, and we lost to the Texans. So the team hasn't truly recovered from it. I could tell. So when I saw that happen to Carson Wentz, it brought me back to last December, and it's very unfortunate. It seems to me that every season, a team that has Super Bowl potential has a derailment where something happens to their wide receiver, something happens to their quarterback, something happens to this person or that person, and they just go down. It's like, and one or two things happen. They either bounce back from it and come back better than ever, or the team never truly recovers from it and they go back into struggling mode. So I hope it's the former of those two things rather than the latter for Carson Wentz and the Eagles, because this man had Super Bowl potential for February coming, and for this to happen, this late in the season, it's truly hurtful. Watching it, and he's not even coming back until next season, so y'all won't even see him. But it was very, hurtful. I mean, he's young, but but as you said, I think it was on a status or your inbox, we was having a conversation that he's young, so he can bounce back. It's not like he's, an older player. He's young, has time to heal, and he has good physical therapy at his disposal. So he'll be all right. But it did derail the Eagles' season, and they won't be, going too far that they had imagined. So hopefully Nick Foles will show up, but if not, then the Eagles can try again next season.
I want to make one more point. Um, Colin, you said, why does it keep happening to our quarterbacks? All those quarterbacks you named were running quarterbacks. You look at running quarterbacks, they don't last a season. Like, you got to be smart. Like, Russell Wilson is smart. He takes chances, but he pulls up, he slides. He knows when to get the ball away. First of all, you can't hold on to the ball forever. A lot of quarterbacks do that. It drives me nuts. Like, defenses are just that good, man. Like, you can't be back there like you baking bread or something. Like, no, it's a hot potato. You got to get rid of that potato right away. So that's why it keeps happening to us, because our quarterbacks take risks. And football is a game where you definitely in a car collision, like every 10 seconds or whatever, like every play. One play can go wrong, one play can go right. That's just the nature of the game. So it's not a derailment. I gotta get on you about that. I mean, it's sometimes it's your game and you get away with it. Sometimes you don't.
Now let me add to that point. It happens to Philadelphia quarterbacks way too often. I mean, you're right. Randall Cunningham and Donovan McNabb, they're both mobile quarterbacks, but it was not just them. Ron Jaworski also suffered an injury when he was playing. Nobody really knows Ron Jaworski as a mobile quarterback. I mean, when Donovan McNabb, because I watched that game, when Donovan McNabb got injured, it wasn't on a run. It was actually a sack. It's actually sort of the same thing that happened to.
But are you
I don't
hold
know.
hold up? Are you telling me all those hits don't have a toe? Like, so if I keep hitting you,
No, listen, all those hits. I agree with you. All those hits have a toll, but I'm getting there. This is why I said. I like Doug Peterson, but he got way too much Andy Reid in him for me. Carson Wentz would have never been in that position if my man would have said, "Oh, hey, look, I have 4 dynamic running backs. Let me hand the ball off to LeGarrette Blount, who I paid all this money to run touchdowns and only has 4. And we're in our, 14, 15 game of the season? That would have never happened. The only reason that happened was because everybody was covered. Shouldn't have been running with our offensive line. It would be as stupid. I said this when they did it, when the Seahawks did it, when they were on the 1 yard line and they decided to get cute and it cost them everything. The Eagles decided to get cute at the 1 yard line, 2 yard line, where they should have been like, hey, I've got LeGarrette Blount. I've got Jay Ajayi. Jay Ajayi's been running all over the Rams. Let me hand the ball off. Nope. I'm going to put my quarterback at risk. That's what happened, right? Now, yes, Carson Wentz was reckless, but he's 6'5". He's built like a skinny Ben Roethlisberger. He took his chance. He got burned taking his chance. But wouldn't have been in that position if Doug Peterson said, I've got all these running backs. I'm going to hand the ball off. Like, most of that is scheme. Like, let's be real. Doug Peterson saying he's balanced. He's not balanced. We've seen it. We've watched the games. I know Reno's watched the games. We all know Doug Peterson got way too much Andy Reid in him. Passing when he shouldn't be passing. Putting our quarterback in unnecessary places where he got to get hit. That man, our offensive line is really good. I'm not taking nothing away from them. But there's some things that shouldn't have happened. That's one of the things that shouldn't have happened.
But Colin, that's just not Doug Peterson. What's the coach of the Seahawks? He passes when he should run. He made one of the worst mistakes ever. Not giving the ball to Marshawn Lynch in the Super Bowl. That's the nature of the league right now. To be honest with you, everybody wants to get past him. They don't want the slow, because that's what you got to be really disciplined to go with the run. This is a slow process. Like, you're not going to rip off a 100-yard run every down. That's not going to happen. Defense is too good. So, and answer me this, all y'all. This is questions for all y'all. Is football not a game of a car collision? There's no football player that doesn't play with an injury. They all play with injuries. All of them. Nobody runs through skate-free and say, I'm good this season. No. Everybody's playing with an injury. Sometimes you just get more injuries than somebody else. And guess what? You get that one injury, it takes you out for the season. And I'm not even a Tony Romo fan. But Tony Romo played with, like, so many injuries. Are you serious?
Reno's unmuted, so I know he got something to say. What you got to say, man?
I was waiting for a question there, actually.
Okay. Well, it's time for the famous Colin curveballs because I got some things to get, some questions to get to that I want Reno's answer to because I know he told me off he's only gonna be on here for at least an hour, so I want to get to these questions. We're gonna run down to our bottom two, not our bottom two, but our two more controversial questions that I know is right up all of our alleys. So we're going to start with this one. So, guys, what's our reaction? Because I think this will be the shortest. As a matter of fact, let's start with the Disney question. What's our reaction to Disney now having a sports empire with the acquisition of Fox Sports and ESPN? Go ahead, Reno.
I mean, it's pretty concerning if you are big into antitrust like I am. You know, big corporations owning everything seems is the only way. Like people there's so many vertical integrations right now that it's kind of crazy. It's not good for competitiveness, and I think it's going to hurt the consumer. They're going to raise prices because that's what they always do, and I mean, there's not much more to it other than that. It's kind of interesting that they bought Fox Sports and everything like that. That's not they didn't. Fox Sports was not the reason they bought it. They wanted 21st Century Fox is the real reason they wanted, so they could start, getting some commingling the ideas there and everything like that. But it's just not a good thing overall for anyone, and it's pretty concerning. Since it's a vertical integration, it's not going to get stopped by the FTC because it's not, technically speaking, anti-competitive in that sense. But I mean, there's not much we can do about it, and we're just going to have to kind of grin and bear it. But it's kind of concerning that, the only real competitor is now gone.
Yeah, let me jump the line here. It's concerning. I agree with Reno. I also want to take it from this point. As a person who is in this field, the sports journalism field, the sports reporter field, the sports broadcast field, it's very concerning. Just because, as Reno said, and that's what I want to hit on too. Like, it's very concerning because now it used to only be ESPN. It used to be ESPN and Fox Sports. Now it's just ESPN. And ESPN has its own issues and everything, and there's a lot of competition to get into the broadcasting field as a whole. Even more competition to get into the sports broadcasting field, because, as a lot of you know, everybody thinks they can talk sports, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of other things to talk sports, and now there's less competition. Even though I don't like some of the Fox Sports personalities, they don't deserve to. They got away from ESPN because to escape the different things that was going on there and with Disney as a whole, only to be caught up in the Disney wave again. Now, we should point out that it's just regional Fox Sports, like the Yes Network and Big Ten Network, different things that all y'all like. But the bigger, like Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2 is still under Rupert Murdoch, but it's still less competition, as Reno said, and it's very concerning, especially if you're trying to be a broadcaster, to think that Disney basically has the number one sports network, ESPN, and you really only have a very limited amount of options. Either you stay local and become your local sportscaster, or get on sports radio, or you go to ESPN, and there's really no other choice, and that's really concerning. And I know I might be hurting some chances because this is all live and it can be Googled, but it's still really concerning whether there's a future job at ESPN or any of these people or not. It's very concerning in an industry that has a lot of competition already, to have even less competition in a monopoly within the field that has a lot of competition.
I agree. Monopolies are not a good thing because it destroys creativity in the field. So now they can more so dictate the model that they want. Like, they want a certain broadcaster on there. Like, he's got to be the manly looking guy. He's got to be heterosexual. Not that I'm against heterosexual, but just give an example. Like, they can push that more, and like, who's going to stop them? Because they control it, and they can shut things down. Just like how when they want to, or the workers at SEPTA, when they want to get a contract done, they know they're going to get it done, because guess what? They can shut the city down any moment they want to. So it's the same thing with Disney owning Fox and just swallowing up the field. They kind of dictate how they want ESPN to, like, broadcast certain things. Like, no. We're not gonna really work with y'all unless y'all work with us and do it the way we want you to. Monopolies aren't good. I totally agree. I think you need more diversity. You need more competition. This is America. This is what we like. That's what our value is supposed to be. We supposed to be about small business. We supposed to be about everybody getting an opportunity. But we all know that there are so many large corporations that really control how America goes. And this is just another clear example of that.
I'm going to interrupt real quick to announce that I got to go right now. I got to go see the new Star Wars, which is why I got to leave early, but this was a lot of fun.
Take me, Reno. I want to see it.
It came out already?
All right, no problem. Thanks so much for having me on, guys.
All right, Reno. Good talking.
All right,
All
man.
right, no time. All right,
Said,
bye.
take me with you.
All right,
I
go
feel the
ahead.
same way. I want to see that joint. That look good.
Yeah, do. Go ahead, Amina.
Yeah, what y'all was saying about how it's turning into a monopoly. It's like for people who really want to get involved with, sports broadcasting, sports journalism, anything, concerning journalism, but really sports related, they're they're gonna have very limited opportunities at this point going forward, where jobs are gonna be slim, people are going to be forced to either choose their passion or choose a job that they really don't want, or make their passion a career for them, as in, do for self entrepreneurship. And it's turned into a monopoly where it's being controlled due to foreseeable reasons that'll come out. But it's really messed up how all these big name companies are trying to buy up the smaller companies, and it really takes out, you know, as you all have stated, creativity. People have limited choices of what they can do, what they can't do, and they don't have like choices. Like, you're taking away people's choices. And to have only ESPN at this point is limiting options for people to partake in. So the monopoly thing is not good, and it's just like in some cities where they only have one of something, like Philadelphia with SEPTA, and have it in their contract where they can only be the only game in town, which SEPTA does in their contract. And so it puts people at a disadvantage. Either you use this service or you won't have a service at all. So it's bigger. The bigger picture is more than what it's being portrayed to be. And the bigger picture is eventually going to continue exposing itself for the reasons why this is existing. But nothing good comes from monopolies. Higher prices, less quality, no choices, more BS. But we get the gist of it.
I mean, I just want to say it highlights, man. We were all excited. I know most of us in here are big superhero movie fans. We're all excited because we all grew up with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four and stuff like that. So we were all excited about that. But it as I realized what Disney got, man. I mean, for real, and the research that I did, they really only wanted. They really didn't even care about X Men and the Fantastic Four. It really was about just because Fox has the majority stake in Hulu, and why would Disney want Hulu? Because they're trying to launch their own Netflix, and the best way to launch your own Netflix is to make sure that you have Netflix's biggest competition, Hulu. So that's what they did. It really wasn't about anything else but Hulu. But some people might think Hulu is trash, but it's Netflix's competition, and when you want something to spite Netflix, you'll spend $52 billion to spite Netflix. So that's exactly what they did, and this is where we are now. This is the ugly side of the industry that we're in. Like the entertainment industry is a very yes. Even the journalists you see on your television, everybody's a part of this entertainment industry. This industry that informs you and entertains you, and it's a very small fraternity, and it gets smaller every time we have monopolies. Like very concerning what Disney owns now. Like they own The Simpsons, they own Family Guy, they own they own so much now. Like they own Futurama. They own everything. Basically, everything that you grew up with, they own. So, it's very concerning that they own all of our childhood. Like it's the best way of saying it. All of our childhood and most of our adulthood is owned by Disney. And if it's not owned by Disney, it's owned by Comcast. So it's just very concerning what these monopolies do to people. And like I said, for such a small industry as the sports industry, because sports podcast, that's how we're gonna look at it. It does people no favors, especially if you're aspiring sportscasters like me, or you're an aspiring broadcaster, you're an aspiring actor, whatever you are, man. To know that you really only have Disney, Comcast, Apple, Netflix, and Hulu is a very much a small fraternity of people who you can go to work for if you want to be big and you want to make. I'm not saying you got to be big, but if you want to make a profit with something, you got to go to about 5 or 6 companies, and it's concerning, to be honest. To keep it a bean. I know I said I'm going to stay away from the Philly localisms, but hey, it's not working. To our next question, which I know a lot of people are wearing to go on, and I'm mad Reno left before we got this one in. What's your reaction to a fan suing the Saints for the anthem protest? Go ahead, Amina. I know you got a strong opinion on this one.
Not too much of a strong opinion, but I do have an opinion. um, Based on the article you shared, I read it. I actually didn't know anything about it till you shared it, but I read the article of it. So a fan that bought season tickets, for the whole season, all the games, and is I guess, a lifetime or avid New Orleans Saints fan, apparently does not agree with the movement that Colin Kaepernick started, doesn't support it, doesn't, you know, appreciate it. So the fan says that I didn't pay season tickets for them to be protesting things. So they're either going to stop protesting or I won't be going to any games. So, moving forward, the fan sue is suing the Northern Saints because of it. My thing is as I've said time and time, for me, you, Matt, and others agree, there is no universal way to protest. There's no universal way to stand up for injustice. There's no universal way to exercise your rights or privileges to peaceably assemble or anything concerning those things. People want to be able to enjoy things in life and not be challenged on things. They don't want their status quo to be disturbed. They don't want anything to conflict with their personal beliefs that are bogus. They don't want anything to do with anyone that goes against their norm. To me, this fan doesn't understand or does understand but refuses to accept why this movement started 2 years ago nearly. This fan doesn't seem to grasp why the movement started for police brutality against blacks and other, people of color. This fan doesn't get why the so-called national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, is the openly racist tune. If you look at the entire lyrics, not the ones that they do at sports games, and see why it shouldn't be sung anywhere and why it should be banned. Um, the fan doesn't understand social injustice. The fan doesn't understand what social activism is. Ignorant and is very brainwashed and set in his or her ways and where they grew up in hasn't really expanded their mind, and it's just very unfortunate. But to sue a team because they're doing something that they legally can do, it's messed up. It's like, so you just want to watch a game, but whatever else is going on around you in the country, your city, your state, wherever you are, doesn't matter to you. You just want to be, entertained, like a 2-year old, where you just put a cartoon on, give them a snack, and keep it moving. But no, this is real life. This country for the past 5 centuries has had BS going on every year, and the only way to at least try to move forward with that mess is to deal with and tackle each situation head on, because you can't move forward if you don't work on what's going on today. You gotta be able to have conversations, heal, move along together. But this fan doesn't want to, cooperate in that process, and it's unfortunate. But you're still a team, and for what? Because they're doing something you don't like. Okay, but they're gonna keep protesting because they legally can. This is not the NBA. This is the NFL, and they can protest all they want. So it's nothing the fan can do. But either not watch the games or give your season tickets to somebody.
I find it hard to believe that a fan doesn't know social injustice when you see what's being broadcast in the news. You see Black Lives Matter. Like I, I don't care if you can't even speak English. Like you just learning how to communicate. There is something in you that has a moral code, and you know when something's wrong. So forget that fan, and they shouldn't even see his case. They should throw it out as quick as possible. And like, how in the world are you gonna? This is America, man. Like, people still don't understand it. They trying to. That fan is trying to be another like a little Donald Trump. How you gonna tell somebody that they got to stand for a national anthem? They don't have to stand. You may not like what they're doing, but the fact that you are saying something about it, you are serving the purpose that they was going for. They wanted to get your attention. Guess what? They got your attention. That was the whole point of the movement. To get you to stop and really think about what is going on. I need to give it more notice. But it's of course it's to push you in the light to where, all right, I need to put some action behind it. Not the action where as though you hating the person now for bringing awareness to you. I think it's funny how you can sue for anything nowadays, and like it really gets seen. But man, that fan tripping. That's it. That fan is tripping.
Man, when I saw that, excuse me, when I saw that, man, it was kind of like, people being offended by the anthem protest. It's kind of like how much snow we been getting in Philly the last few days, man. It's like you expect it like every like couple minutes, every couple days, man. It's been as consistent as the snowfall in the city over the past few days, man. It's something you expect like every month. As long as they'll be playing football for the rest of the year, somebody will say, "Oh, the reason I ain't watching football is because of the anthem protests." And that's like it's like the new thing, man. It's the new wave of different things, man. It's crazy what people will do to justify their political leaning or whatever political thing they think that they have. They want to justify something, and it's ridiculous. And that fan, as Andre said, and as Amina said, need to have his case thrown out. Matter of fact, if I was the judge, I'd look at that docket and laugh at it. I'd be all like, "So you're telling me you're suing the Saints for not telling you in advance that they were going to protest the national anthem?" Even though, and this should be pointed out, the Saints have only protested the national anthem once. Once. I think we brought this up on this podcast before. Once. It's always the Saints, man. The last time we talked about this on the podcast, and Amina and Andre can correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the last person that did this a military veteran who didn't want to accept an award from the Saints? It's always the Saints. Why y'all picking on the Saints, man? New Orleans has been through enough. They don't need you trying to make your.
Please, I'm with you, guys. Leave him alone. Leave. That's one of the poorest part of the country too.
They don't need y'all trying to make a statement off their backs. They've been through enough, man. Hurricane Katrina was enough for them. They don't need y'all trying to make your political statements off them. And you know what? That thing should be thrown out. It should be dumped in a fire and made an example of. Like, I'm really starting to think that for frivolous lawsuits, much like the law that they passed where, you know, if you take, I don't know what it was, but somebody can spend, if you falsely accuse somebody of rape, you can go to jail. They need to do that with these frivolous lawsuits. Like, if you put forth a frivolous lawsuit, you need to go to jail. Or you need to reimburse the city or the town or whatever for the money that was spent on your frivolous lawsuit. Like, something got to be done against these frivolous lawsuits. Because this is what we set up. This is, like I was telling Reno, man. Reno's a great person. I was telling him, this is the age of Trump where people think that they're entitled to something. Oh, well, I have this warped sense of what I think America stands for. And if everybody doesn't agree with me, we're in the truth. We talked about Star Wars a little bit. We're in the Star Wars like fascism where opposition is just turned around and turned on its head as not just regular opposition, but there's something wrong with that person. They don't agree with us. There's something wrong with them. You know, we're in like this weird Jedi mind trick society right now. And I'm not blaming it all on 45, but that's where we are right now, and it's a trip. You know, this is what happens when you let this type of thinking develop. Where people are all like, "Well, I'm going to sue the Saints because I wasn't told in advance that they were protesting. I wasted money on the ticket." First and foremost, dog, you can give me your tickets. You know how expensive an NFL game is. Like, a regular season ticket, at least to go see the Eagles, is like $100 and some. Like, you can give me that ticket. You could have given me that ticket, and I would have sold it and tried to get some Eagles tickets. Like, come on now, y'all on one. Mad at the world. You probably upper middle class to rich anyway, because you can afford a season tickets to NFL games. What's wrong with you? What? So what? What's next? You gonna sue Starbucks for not writing your name correctly, or for protesting and not telling you about the protest? Oh my God, what's wrong with people? All right, we're gonna move back up to the top. Actually, we got some questions from the top to do. Will the Eagles be the same without Wentz? I'll start. No, they won't be the same without Wentz. It's a pretty obvious question. They're not going to be the same team. But I have some, like I said, I have faith in Nick Foles to at least get them to the playoffs. Reno and Andre have somewhat convinced me, and I'll say that they have I always said that they have at least like a 90% chance, but now it's like an 85% chance of going to the playoffs. They're going to the playoffs, going to the Super Bowl now. And you know what? If they make it, great. I can't wait. I hope they win. It looks like we might be headed to a rematch of the 2005 Super Bowl with the Eagles and Patriots, or it might be an all-Pennsylvania Super Bowl. I don't really know. But I'm excited. But like I said, it's the year of the backup. In the NFC, it's the year of the backup quarterback. So maybe that'll propel them to a Super Bowl. Maybe it won't. The Eagles have faced a lot of injuries this year. Lots of injuries. And, you know, they've kept the faith and kept strong. So I have faith. I'm just trying to be logical with it. I'm not trying to be irrational. If they make it, they make it, and I'll be happy. If they don't, I'll be somewhat heartbroken. But, you know, they have the excuse now without Carson Wentz. I know they won't take it, but they do have an excuse now. So I'm very much excited to see how my team looks against the Giants on Sunday. I fully expect us to win, but rivalry games are a little bit tough. Just ask the Patriots. So I will be cautiously optimistic, and I can't wait to see how he does. I hope he does find himself. I hope he can lead us to a Super Bowl. I really do. But I know the Eagles won't be the same. The scheme will have to change. The way we run the ball will have to change to a more conventional offense. But I think we're up for the challenge. Yeah, go ahead, Amina.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, it does change the whole dynamic. I mean, they went through the entire training time, preseason, all these regular season games.
Mute yourself, Kyler. Mute yourself.
They did pretty they did well. But when your quarterback goes down, your quarterback just not no regular player on the team. I mean, the quarterback pulls the team up. So it changes the whole dynamic of the team. Got to figure out how they're gonna get Nick Foles into a game and he ain't played all season. How he's gonna gel with the last 3 games that the Eagles got to play for the season. How he might fare with the playoffs if they make it there. I mean, it changes the whole balance. It's like in basketball, if your point guard goes down for a significant amount of time, you got to figure out how you're going to change the roster, how you're going to change everything. Just the balance of the team's just thrown off. Not in a bad situation. I mean, Nick Foles has the ability to make it to a playoff and win games, but the balance with the team is not there anymore because someone that helped lead the team to where they are now, president at this time, it won't be back until next season. So they're gonna have to figure out new formulas to make it by in the meantime. But outside of Nick Foles, the Eagles are done for the season, and it's just sad, that they almost made it. They almost had it, but foreseeable things that
Shut
happen
up,
every
Amina. Shut up. I had
and they they can make it to a playoff, but it'll be a different dynamic getting there. But they can.
Are we a different team? Absolutely. Carson Wentz is franchise quarterback. He's a one of a kind player. Nick Foles is a backup quarterback at best. Um, but can he guide us to the Super Bowl? Absolutely. Because like we talk about all the time, football is the ultimate team sport. Hands down. Like if your defense is phenomenal, if your special teams is phenomenal, like they running back kicks, they blocking punts, like you can do like it's sports. Like the world of sports can get crazy and it can be spectacular and it can be horrible. If you're a Browns fan, let me stop picking on the Browns. Anyway, but yeah, I think we're gonna be fine. Man. I know we're gonna be fine. I'm not worrying about it. Of course, it's a thought that comes across your mind, and the Eagles didn't almost make it. We still on top. And shoot, if the Stinging Ravens would did their job, we'd had the best record in the league now. But the Steelers come back. But that's a story all on its own. We gonna light up, like Colin said. We gonna light up the Giants. I can't wait for Sunday. That team is so in disarray right now. Eli, he's still heartbroken. The fact that how they did him, they got this man standing in front of his locker, ready to ball out crying because he got to come off the bench now. They wanted to keep the record going. He like, no, I ain't gonna be that type bull. Like worrying about some record. If I ain't the quarterback, put me on the bench. Man, we gonna like this team. They don't have no Odell Beckham. They don't have the other receiver that they picked up. Oh, Brandon Marshall. So listen, their defense is not spectacular. They got one of the weakest defenses. So and we got some great running backs. So we gotta do is keep running down their throat, and then every now and then throw a pass or two. Keep it balanced. Keep them honest. So we gonna be good. We ain't tripping. We gonna be good. Oh yeah, shout out to the Sixers too. They just went to triple overtime. Even though they lost, we gotta show them some love. The fact that they went to triple overtime with OKC. Only lost by 2 points.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. I need to remind y'all just to be respectful. Some people are taking different things the wrong type of way, so we need to continue to be somewhat respectful on this podcast and professional. Let people finish their points and anything, just to make sure that we're just keeping the respect thing. And
Well, I
I know,
apologize. I was just joking. I hope you didn't take that in no kind of way. I mean,
I know Dre. I know Dre. Uh,
How do I do it?
and I'm very much appreciative of both of you. Just wanted to take that out there, put that out there. And you know, to my Eagles, man. Obviously, that's not. No, I ended the show, but like I said, I understand Andre's a passion. This is what happens. The Eagles are like a religion in this city. Uh, and we're very passionate about our Eagles. So I understand where everybody's coming from. But the Eagles are a good team. Like I said, hopefully Nick Foles will take it. Will take it to the next level. And I am very excited for what's going to happen. Like I agree with Andre, they should light the Giants up, and maybe be 14-2. Then we got to face the Raiders on our last Monday night game of the year, and no, as I said, the Eagles' last Monday night game of the year, and then we'll face those Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott and see what happens with that. But basically that should be. If they win this next game, they basically can take the next 2 games off. I know they won't do that, but if they win the game, they can take the next 2 games off. So we'll see. So Foles will have a trial by fire these next 3 games. If he survives that, then I'll adjust my confidence. But right now, I'm at a B plus on Nick Foles, and I want to just see 2017 Nick Foles in a full game before I'm ready to say, oh yeah, he's definitely going to take us to the playoffs. Now that Carson Wentz is out, I just need to see him in action, because if he comes out and stinks it up, I'm gonna be lowering my grade. So, I'm very much am willing to see him, and want to see him play. So moving right along. All right, guys. Did Alabama deserve to make the college football playoffs? Again, the question is, did Alabama deserve to make the college football playoffs? Go ahead, Andre.
oh, say that question again, Kyle.
Did Alabama deserve to make the playoffs, the college football playoffs?
It's gonna be a quick answer. I'm not sure if I don't really follow college ball. You gonna give me a little background so I can answer this question.
All right, so the Alabama Crimson Tide, they made the playoffs when they shouldn't have made the playoffs, and they made it over Ohio State. That's the best way to say it. They didn't play in their championship game. They just got in because basically Alabama. That's it. You got it out.
Yeah, on that note, no, they definitely shouldn't be in it, because Ohio State, man, that's a real deal team. They should sit out one. I don't care, you Alabama, you got this prestige to you. No. You earn it. Just like the NFL, So any sport, man, you gotta earn it to get in there. You can't just get in off your name. No, because then that diminishes the team that does win. Because it's like, all right, they skating in because they the favorites. They number one child in the family. You know what I mean? That's daddy's little girl. That's that's mama's boy right there.
That's funny.
Amina.
We can move on to the next question. I don't have too much to say about Alabama football team.
All right. So let me wrap this up. No, Alabama. I agree with Ray. Alabama didn't deserve to make the playoffs. They are they're a team that, like I said, just got in just because they're Alabama and they got rewarded for not playing and playing cupcake games. Like I'm not a person who's down for somebody getting in when they didn't have the best record, when they're not the best team, and then on top of that, I found out on ESPN that them of all people got the best chance to win the playoffs against the number one team that just beat them last year in Clemson. I know Matt would kill me for saying Clemson because there's that rivalry because he's from South Carolina. But it is ridiculous. But you know what? That's the committee. If I was the committee, I wouldn't have done it. But hey, you gotta appease the boosters and the lobbyists as politics. And Alabama didn't deserve it. And Ohio State, instead of riding for Penn State and saying Penn State should have been in over them last year, now they got screwed by the same rule that screwed Penn State. So I guess it's irony in the best form, but it's Alabama. Nobody outside of Alabama and Alabama alums want to see Alabama play against Clemson again and see them get destroyed. Like it's just not something that people want to see. I mean, I do because I like to see Alabama lose, but there's not many people like me that just want to see Alabama lose. Uh, Moving on. This is something we probably not gonna get to because Matt isn't here and he's the baseball expert who could go more into this, but the Yankees acquired Giancarlo Stanton, so now they have Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge, so they're just going to be the Bronx Bombers, literally, because of all the home runs they'll be hitting. But Matt's not here, so I'm not gonna go into that. I'm gonna give it justice and wait for him.
We know why they got them though. The Yankees all about that bread. They pay for whatever they want.
Very true. So we're gonna move on. So guys, what's our reaction to Larry Johnson saying that he is experiencing, he fears that he has CTE? Go ahead, Andre.
Say that one more time, Calvin. I'm sorry.
Larry Johnson, the former Chiefs running back who went to Penn State, he says he has CTE. What's your reaction?
Sad, man. It's I the only thing I would say is this why I feel like President Obama. If I had a son, I wouldn't let him play in football because I love him more than I love the game, and I love the game. And I'm a diehard Eagles fan, man. Like couldn't take me away from it. I wasn't gonna be part of the I'll do other stuff. I'll protest and I'll take a knee, but I was not gonna not watch the games. I never took that stance because I love football. I love watching it. I love getting excited about it. I love seeing the plays. I love hearing the sports commentators and what they say. I love reading some of the articles like my man Colin. I love hearing y'all points of view like Amina. Yeah, I feel bad for the guy, man. But see, this is another example why Roger Goodell shouldn't get that kind of money, man. Like that money should be going to players like this, like that's dealing with CTE and the ex players, the older players, like the players that came before. And I definitely understand their point of view when they say that we didn't get paid what these guys get paid. We should get some kind of incentive of it, like it's Y'all still showing our games. Y'all still making money off our backs. Y'all still bragging about our Super Bowls and stuff. Like especially Cowboys fans. That's all they brag about is when they won the Super Bowl back in the 70s and 80s. Like, come on, man. I know it's not that long ago, but that's what it just feels like.
Amina. Amina, you there? You're muted, so we can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me? I had myself muted.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
This just goes over what we have discussed in previous episodes. Like the article I shared with you not too long ago, I think it was a few weeks ago, how they had found CTE in a living person, and now this living, breathing player is saying that he's feeling that he has it, and it's only going to escalate. I mean, can't get over it, can't ignore it, and it's going to be dealt with. The NFL's tried to push this under the rug for years and years and years, and it's finally blowing up now. Like you can't, you have to be able to deal with this situation. And I feel as though any significant amount of money that's coming into the NFL as far as revenue, a large portion of it should be dedicated towards these players considered CTE. I'm not surprised that he came out and said he has it. I'm not surprised at all. In fact, any former professional football player most likely has it. In the NFL, nothing lasts forever, but with that saying, the NFL isn't going to last forever as well. With these CTE situations, players not getting a guaranteed contract, um, it's going to cripple the NFL at some point. And we've talked about them going on strike in the foreseeable future. And this is all going to be the reasons why. But it's a shame that players are eventually are actually coming forward now while they're alive to admit that they feel as though they have it. I mean, it's pretty obvious the signs, but up until now they could only see bodies, and now they can test on living bodies. So I hope he gets testing, much needed testing and therapy he needs, and he has the rights and grounds to sue the NFL for what's going on with him. They should be responsible to pay any medical coverage that he needs or his insurance bill, something. He should not have to come out of pocket to be tested and treated for this. But it's been boiling over for a long time, and it's gonna blow up. I mean, players gonna come out the woodwork and admit it. I could just feel it.
We have we Larry Johnson, man. We grew up with Larry Johnson, man. He was on the Chiefs, right there with Pete Holmes and a bunch of other people. Like, and he went to Penn State. Larry Johnson, man. He's another example of what happens when you play football a little bit too long. And by that I mean they said that he's had this, or he's suffering, he thinks, from the forms of CTE. He hasn't like been officially tested, but he says he's experiencing suicidal thoughts and he's thinking about harming himself and everything else. And so with all the classic symptoms, he's hallucinating. And as Andre said, this is what happens when that's the famous. He was repeating something from Concussion, the movie, where he said it's like getting hit by a train every Sunday, like the way these players play the game of football. And unfortunately for much like Aaron Hernandez, it seems like he is the reason he has so much CTE is because not just because of playing in the NFL, but it's also because of college football. And I think what most people don't realize is college football is pretty unregulated when it comes to concussions. Like they just send people in there. College and high school football. And I know it's not saying much to say that professional football is more regulated when it comes to concussions than college and high school and Pop Warner. Like this is what you expect. I know it's kind of obvious, but it still needs to be pointed out because it's a fact. Because in college football, they don't really take it as seriously as they do in but professional football, where they take you off the side, they put you in the arms of an independent doctor. The people that evaluate college and high school players are the doctors of the teams, the doctors of the schools, and everything, and they have a vested interest in getting them back out on the field. But you just have so many different things going on with that, and for CT for Larry Johnson, man, it just sucks for him, man. All that football, all the things that he's done, and just have CTE and just be dying, just like know that you're like that your brain is diseased and you're on your way out. It's just devastating, man. So many people
On your way out.
have that, and it's
On your way
just
out.
it's just very very disconcerting and concerning that this is NFL football. This is everybody's disposable. This is NFL football. The machine continues. You have to basically destroy your body so the machine can continue. And it's Andre's right. It's why Roger Goodell shouldn't get that money. It's why I don't know why these people give these owners so much respect and respect them like that when they made money off of basically like how what Kanye was. The best thing to compare it to is what Kanye West made Blood Diamonds about all the people that made money off Blood Diamonds.
But that was
And blood money. This is what the NFL has: blood money, money that's been made off the backs of men who have put their brains on the line, not even bodies, their brains on the line to make the NFL $1 billion industry. And I'll leave it at that. So now we're on the final couple of questions. So, guys, will CTE kill the NFL? Again, will CTE kill the NFL? Go ahead, Amina.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. Will CTE kill the NFL? Eventually. Um, as you just said a few seconds ago, the players put not so much their body. Yes, they put their body on the line, but they put their internal organs, on the line for this organization, and it gets a little in return. They don't even get a guaranteed contract when he either gets signed to the NFL or drafted. Outside of that, there's going to be reasons why they're going to eventually go on strike, as we've talked about, and CTE is going to eventually be one of them. It's going to cripple. And like with anything, it only starts with one person to get the domino of the chain reaction going. One person comes out, then two, then four, then six. Before you know it, you have hundreds of people coming forward. So this is only the beginning. I expect some people to file lawsuits with the NFL and with the teams they've played on for the CTE, but the NFL is going to go through some things in the next several years that football fans have never seen before. It's going to be legal situations, strikes, all this, this, that, and the third. Because the NFL functions off of making money off of the backs of the players, as you said, is blood money. and they're not really willing to admit the situation with the CTE. They're not willing to freely hand out financial compensation. So it's going to be a mess. And with lawsuits, you don't pay out in a little bit of money. You got to pay up. So with all these players that's going to come out, they might just do one large class action lawsuit, and that'll really bring it down because you talk about players versus organization. So that'll be a real movement right there in itself. But yeah, CTE is eventually going to be the cause of the NFL's imminent demise. I mean, I don't know how long the NFL thinks it has to go before things really blow up with CTE and other situations that have been going on. But it's eventually going to, have an impact on the NFL, its reputation, its finances, its image. I mean, parents already don't want their young children in elementary and middle school involved in football. They get them involved in basketball, volleyball, swimming, hockey, golf, things that are, moderate. But football, a whole lot of pee wee football teams are no longer in existence around the country because people don't want their children involved in it. But it's going to eventually come out. So it's only a matter of time. What was done in the dark comes to the light, and hey, it's time for it to come to the light.
I agree. Let's say that I guess the even better question is, where is football going? Is it going to go to flag football? Because, like, if you've seen the movie Concussion and you see the character that Will Smith played, he clearly talks about human beings were never designed to play football because there's nothing protecting our brain. Like our skull is just, our brains is sitting in fluid. So when we smack it against something, it's just like having something like, I don't know, like it's like having a brain in a jar and it's just like you shaking it. It's not a good thing for it. It's a bad thing. Like our bodies are amazing. They can do amazing things and we can get a lot out of them, but they're fragile. They're very fragile. And it's like it only takes a little small trigger for you to go paralyzed. Small trigger for you to go brain dead. Um, yeah, I see a lot of parents pulling their kids out of football, and that's what's really gonna kill football because they're gonna be like, man, I can't like I like this game. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna go from love to like, and then they're gonna be like, I don't. No, I'm not going to put my child in that kind of harm's way. And then it's going to be the other parents that's ignorant. Like, I love the game so much, and they can do so much, and they can make all this kind of money. Because will we even ask this question if football players want making great kind of money? I don't think so. I sincerely don't think so. I think the money always plays a part. Because how many... If we ask football players seriously, how many of them would do it just for the love of it? Just because they love the game? I think you will find really small numbers. Really, really small numbers. Everybody has the hopes and dreams to eventually make it to the NFL, especially college players. Some high school players, but yeah. If it does die, we got like a million other sports. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're gonna be starving for sports. It's gonna be what it is, and we'll just enjoy what we used to have.
Let me just answer this question, everybody. Yeah, it's going in the NFL. NFL. I mean, it's already technically killing football now. Like every time somebody gets a head injury. Like last week, the Texans quarterback Tom Savage, he actually suffered a concussion. And it looked like he was having a seizure. It's so much a part of football now that every time somebody goes down with a head injury, you got the NFL being reactionary. And so when you're in a spot where you're reacting to stuff, you are no longer in the position of strength. Like the NFL lost this battle a long time ago, as far as when it comes to CTE, because they refused to acknowledge its existence, and now they're suffering because players are suffering. Players are retiring as old as I am, if not younger, in their 20s, sometimes in their teens, because they realize that they don't need football anymore. They got their couple $1 million. They go start their businesses or small businesses, and they get out of the NFL, go into broadcasting and different things. And that should tell you a lot right there. Right now, I'm not here to say because I'm not in the NFL front office if there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of things going on there. But it just seems like from the way they're being some reactionary stuff, they didn't plan on having this be a part of the college football season again. And you know the way it's set up, especially now with the youth participation. I mean, I mentioned youth participation, especially now with the youth participation rate in football, drowning or decreasing. The NFL is going to be looking for a way to keep itself alive, and so there are different things that are going on that need to be addressed, and the NFL needs to work harder. That we get a concussion protocol, make sure they stay valuable for the next couple of years. But they are going to get some planted by the NBA because there's no concussion. No, I'm not going to say there's no concussions. There's no CTE in the NBA, and it's not. As somebody who loves the Eagles, likes to watch football, it's my second favorite sport. It's like I'm watching a slow demise, like a train slowly going to its doom. Like it's kind of horrible to watch, but it kind of is well deserved, and but they don't deserve the whole slow death that they're getting because of the concussions. But hey, them's the breaks. Go ahead, Andre.
Um,
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to ask you the question. My bad.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I can keep going on this topic.
Uh, but we're gonna hit y'all with this curveball before we end with our final three. Two football, one NBA questions. Reaction to the Keaton Jones story. The one about the white boy who got bullied. Go ahead. Go ahead, Andre.
I gotta look this up. I ain't even see this story. I mean, you go before me. I'm gonna look it up.
Can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Keaton Jones. Let's go into this little demon seed. First and foremost, he was not bullied. Going to Keaton Jones, his father is a convicted felon that's incarcerated and in their town and amongst their family or whatever. He's a known white supremacist. His mother, Keaton's mother, is the same as his father. White supremacist. I mean, she raised her children to tote, stuff about Nazi Germany, the Klan, old Confederate flags. But nitty and the gritty of the story is that Keaton Jones' mother posted some video on Facebook. It got millions of views, likes, and comments. They had a bogus GoFundMe account up for him, but she was taking money from regular everyday people as well as celebrities that fell for the okey doke with the fake and phony sympathy. But thank God for Black people. They had common sense. We got a shout out to Black Twitter. Black Twitter showed up and showed out. Black Twitter went and investigated this family and went and investigated Keaton as an individual student in his school. After Black Twitter did their little investigation, come to find out Keaton was never bullied. In fact, he was the bully in his school. He was running around the school calling the black children niggers, you know. He was going around the school, taunting black children, um, saying all kinds of stuff that he had no business doing. And his mother was condoning it. She supported it. So after so long of a child being bullied by a wild heathen like Keaton, they eventually go off. I mean, he had been at this school bullying students for a long while, and they just finally, went off on him verbally. I mean, they poured liquid down his clothes. I think they poured milk down his clothes, but he deserved it. Just the way he's raised, how he handles non-Caucasian children, he deserved it. He's going to the seventh grade, I believe, so he's old enough to, at this point, know better than to be going around calling black children niggers. I mean, it's really interesting, but it's really unfortunate because with that, we've had black children this year alone, 2017, four of them that I know of, three girls and one boy that were legitimate, bona fide victims of bullying in schools that all committed suicide, in four different states. One in California, 13-year-old girl, a 10-year-old girl in Colorado, an 8-year-old girl in New Jersey, and I forgot the age and location of the boy. I will have to look that up. But these are legit bona fide victims. I mean, the 10-year-old, her name Ashanti Davis, she committed suicide after her school failed to assist her. She found out that a fight that got uploaded of her when she was getting jumped by some older students had landed on Facebook. She found out about it. She committed suicide. It's very unfortunate. But when I'm on Facebook throughout the day or at night, I'm looking at stories. Like every day, it seems to be a story of a parent posting a background story of their child, just the school's name and a video or graphic pictures stating the same situations. How the bullies are allowed to roam the schools, they rule the schools, how the teachers and administration and the bullies' parents can't control the bullies, but or won't. Not so much they can't, but they won't. But the bully victims are suspended, put in detention, kicked out of school. So it's very backwards. You have a whole school system in this country where bully victims are reprimanded and the bullies are allowed to take over. I don't know when this started, but it happened to me when I was in school, and I've been in school for almost 10 years. So it's like it happens every single generation, but now it's getting worse because we're living in the modern technological era where when you get your when you get your ASS kicked, it used to be well you get it kicked after school at 3 o'clock, 3:30. I want to see you in the schoolyard, but now people can't wait till after school. They doing it in school during school hours, and now they're not only bullying other students, they're filming it. They're filming it. They're filming themselves jumping people in classrooms, the cafeteria, outside of school, in the bathrooms, wherever. There's cities where they have mass transportation service, like here in Philadelphia. The videos of students getting, harassed, bullied, and jumped on subway trains, trolleys, and buses end up on social media. This mess is getting out of control. Black children are now committing suicide as a result of this mess. Four of them that I know of this year that I've read stories about. So Keaton's mother I guess wanted, 15 minutes of fame, wanted attention, money, this, that, and third. They got it. They got a few thousand. They ain't gonna get no more because the GoFundMe account was shut down. But you can't go around calling black children the N word and expect no retaliation. This is not 100 years ago. This is not 50 years ago. This is even 25 years ago. It'll be 2018 in a few days. These are not the black children of the past where they were called niggers and they allowed Caucasians to just do it and they sat there in silence. No, this is a fearless generation, or what religious clergy members will call today. They will call it the Joshua generation. This is not a generation of black children to mess with. And for Keaton's mother to encourage him to do and say things to black children at school is very unacceptable. And something seriously needs to be done about this suicide mess because it keeps happening. I mean, where do a 13, 10, and 8-year-old learn how to physically take their life? That's something's going on. Besides the breakdown in the community, the breakdown in people's family, the breakdown with the school system, how it's no longer um, the triangle set up with parents or family, school, and student. It's a whole breakdown. No one is working with one another. They should. And it's really unfortunate that the bullied children have no outlet to, release how they feel, what's going on. They have no one to support them to help them. So they're committing suicide rather than living year after year knowing that they're bullied and that no one wants to support them. But something needs to be done because the, it's no reason why a bully victim is being put in detention, suspended, but the person that's doing it to them is getting special favors and treats and this, that, and the third. Like, when did society become to this point? When the harassed are being harassed all over again, but the harassers are allowed to get off. When did society get to this point? And that's impacting our children that aren't even old enough to get a part-time job. So something needs to be done. And Keaton Jones, his mother Kimberly Jones, and I forgot his father's name, and anybody that's in Keaton's life that supports, white supremacy, white power. Y'all are getting what y'all deserve. All the memes on social media direct, directed towards Keaton, y'all getting y'all just dessert. You can't go around calling people the N word in 2017, going into 18, and think that nothing's going to happen to you. So no, something needs to be done because these black children, mental health, it's not, it needs to be addressed in these schools, and it seems to be no school is willing to just truly discuss mental health. They talk about it very vaguely, but they truly don't go into it in depth. And that's situation. That's another situation as well. So it's a whole lot of mess, but that needs to be, handled before, hundreds of children that are bully victims across the country end up committing suicide when it could have all been avoided. But that's what I gotta say.
So after listening to Amina and looking at a few news clips, uh, yeah, I agree with what Amina said. Y'all getting what y'all deserve. I looked at what Parson James says with the revelations about Keaton Jones' family surfacing. We must remember a few things. We cannot hold kids accountable for the actions of their parents/family. Though disheartening, we were all moved by the effects of bullying, and to end it, let's continue to focus on that. And I totally agree with that. We he's a kid. Like, kids are so impressionable. They just do whatever they think is cool, whatever their parents is teaching them. we see it time and time again. Like you see the effects of a two-parent family household versus somebody who grows up in a single-parent household. Like the one who grows up in a two-parent household is more stable, has a better understanding of self-worth, and you know they typically do better in life. Not saying there aren't the people that come in the one-parent households like Barack Obama. He's a clear example. He's the exception. He's not the rule. I feel bad for Keaton because he's stuck in a tough situation. Like he was only found what his parents want him to do, that white supremacy, hold the Confederate flag. I don't know if he fully really understands like what's that really about and how much that hurts so many people and people of color. I, the Keaton Jones situation is it's a sad situation, but it's a clear example of where America is. You know, we were there quick to come to his rescue when we thought he was bullying, but then once we found out some more things about him, we were quick to bully him. Like, you see the irony in that? Like, instead of trying to be more understanding and be more and listen more, you know, we should definitely hold the parents accountable and say, you know what, you wrong. You were totally wrong for doing that, and now we're going to put y'all on blast.
No, I really don't have nothing else to add to that. I mean, and Andre really summed it up. There's some things that you just don't do, and children are the product of their environment, and it sucks that this is the way that we have to do, and that bullying culture is so pervasive in our society. Really, it's a really hard thing to see, but we're in a different culture and we're in a different America now. This is a very, very post logic, post sensitive era now. And this is what our children have to grow up with. So we're gonna have a lot of problems now with the way we do different things, and it's unfortunately gotta be like this, and it doesn't have to be like this, but it's just the way our society is now. We don't care about feelings anymore. We don't care about suicide. It's only if it affects a certain segment of the population do we start caring about it. And it shouldn't be that way, but it is, unfortunately. And it is what it is now. So we're gonna end with our last two questions. We're gonna skip the Roger Goodell, Jerry Jones beef question because we've exhausted that over the past couple of weeks. So let's go to our last two questions. So I know this is gonna hurt Amina because she's a big Warriors fan, but are the Rockets the best team in the NBA? I'll start. As of right now, 11:05 p.m. East Coast time, 8:05 Pacific time. Yes, they're the best team record wise. They're the best team. They're the best 3-point shooting team.
Serious.
They're the best. They're the best. They're the best 3-point shooting team. And I was surprised at this. They're also have the best defensive efficiency. They even beat the Warriors in that, which I was very surprised about. But the Warriors have been able to turn it on, turn it off, and the Rockets have been consistent. And maybe that is all they needed was Chris Paul. I was about to say Paul George, and then maybe that is all they needed. But we'll see. I would like to wait until the playoffs before I make a big decision. But yeah, as of right now, they're the best team in the NBA, and a lot of that is because of Chris Paul and James Harden. Really keeping the fire going. Even though he didn't win the MVP, still keeping that offensive fire going and being a leader and establishing himself in the league. Go ahead, Andre.
Best team in the NBA. I always laugh at that, especially so early in the season. We didn't even get past the halfway point of the season. I don't know how battle tested you are. Okay, you beat the Warriors. You beat I forget the other team you said, but like teams still like at this point, teams should know who they are and they should have their DNA. They should be tight and all that. But want to say, I'm not want to say, I'm going to say that once we get to the tail end of the season, and then we start the playoffs, we really get to see the character of a team. And like when they down 10 points, 20 points, how good are they? Like can they really withstand any kind of test? Like that's the fact that's what makes me really so faithful about the Eagles. Like we've been down, but we've also picked ourselves up. Like we've lost so many players. It's like everything that we went through, we still come out fighting, and we come out on top. Our record speaks for itself. So yeah, if you want to say record wise, yeah, of course they're the best team in the NBA. Personally, I don't think they're the best team in the NBA. Like, how could you be the best team when you just got some brand new players on your team and y'all still trying to figure each other out? Like you're not a better team than the San Antonio Spurs that have been together for a while. You're not a better team than Cleveland that's been together for a while. They added a few new pieces with Isaiah Thomas, but he hasn't even played yet. And Jeff Green and what's the other guy? But you get what I'm saying. Like, because Boston has the second best record. You gonna tell me they're the best team in the East? I find that very hard to believe. I believe Kyrie Irving is a superstar. He is a superstar. That's Uncle Drew. Uncle Drew is no joke. Like, the boy, he can carry a team, but how far does that get you? We've seen that with Russell Westbrook. You can only carry a team, but so far. And then the team has to show up. Like Barkley says, like Barkley says a lot of stuff, but this is really, really telling. When the playoffs start, the game slows down. It becomes a half-court game. You can't keep running those fast breaks like that because defenses, they clamp down on you. They're not going to allow all that silly nonsense because it's a long season. It's so many games. And do teams take off some nights? Absolutely they do. And like they say, you never know what's going through a player's head or what he went through that day. Like maybe his wife yelled at him and they're not vibing, so he had an off game that day. But when the playoffs start and we end the playoffs? Are we talking about playoffs? That's when we get to see the true character because they know this is when they go home. So they throw everything in there. Then in the regular season, most teams are trying to tread water. They're just trying to get to see, or not get to see, but to get to get to land. And because it's such a long season, especially teams that go to the playoffs every year. The Golden State Warriors, the San Antonio Spurs, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Washington Wizards. You can't afford to go ham every game. You turn it up in those last couple minutes of the game, and you working things out during the season, especially when you got new players.
Amina, it's on you.
Yeah. Like with any sport, basketball, football, major sports, hockey, whatever, the regular season does not matter. You can have a terrific record like the Rockets do. They may have put my team in number two for right now, but that's all right. That's fine. But at the end of the day, they could get to the playoffs and it could all change. Um, the Rockets, concerning the NBA, haven't been relevant since the 90s as far as, a powerhouse team. So I'm not impressed by the Rockets. I mean, they're just winning by chance at this point because of who they have on their team. I mean, last year they was barely struggling to, make it to top to the, with the top to, in the top five seed ranking in the West. Nobody was paying attention to the Rockets last season when it was just James Harden on the team. They get Chris Paul on the team, and it's like, hey, they're this hot team. No, so but with like all good things, eventually a team's winning run eventually ends, and they go on a losing run. Not every team can be number one. Some teams have to be number 15 in their conference. So yes, they may have a good record now. Um, they have the best record in the West. The Celtics have the best record in the East. But outside of that, the real test is when the playoffs come, when you got to play, a game series that's, 5, 6, 7 games in a row, trying to get, to the conference championship and God willing to get to the finals. That's what really matters. Playoffs. Regular season don't mean nothing. You can have a good record up until now, and then unforeseeable things, injuries that truly mess up your roster could happen. You could lose the rest of your games in the season. You back down in the bottom half of your conference. So it don't matter. So yes, they have a good record now, but we'll see. Where they are at the end of the season. Finals isn't until June, so we'll see. But I'm not hyping it up. You're supposed to say one game at a time, not a whole season at a time. But that's where I stand with them.
Oh, something happened to Colin. I think he got off the.
Hold on, let me
What you
check
going?
this.
You might have to carry this thing, Amina, or I'm going to carry. I
Hold
guess
on.
he got disconnected.
That's your boyfriend?
Yeah, man. I'm excited about the playoffs coming up for even basketball. It's my favorite sport.
Ow.
Oh, here you go, Colin. You alright? Oh, I guess he's still muted.
That's you? What's this? That's it?
Colin, it's on you.
Guys, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Back now. Where were we? Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. What's going on?
Yeah, we can hear you, Colin.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, cool. Going on with my internet connection. Let's finish this before the last question would be Philly sports curse. I think we answered this a little bit. Hello.
Mhm. We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Colin.
Okay, cool.
I guess Colin's still. You alright?
Yeah. Did y'all answer the question?
What was the question?
Oh, is Philly sports cursed?
Oh, here we go. Come on, Colin. He killing me with this. No. First, we don't. From we don't spend the money the right times. I mean, I feel like telling things to come while you tank is so fair. You're not even gonna do it. But of course, he wants to, go down and down, and the tickets are higher, and of course, they're making bank. No, I mean the Philadelphia Soul. They know, bro. They won what three championships. The Super Bowl. We aren't the Cleveland Browns, like they don't want anything, and they got losing consistently. Can't win. Like there are other teams, they get paid just like we get paid. Believe live like that, like. But bad teams have every team. This is from and they of course they got an argument. Nah, I can. Of course you won. Team based on just winning, because this shows like how shallow you are. Like I'm only with teams that win. If I only like there's no depth to my character. It's like as soon as the one. No, I don't say cursed. We're not cursed.
Mina?
I don't think Philly sports teams are cursed. I think that they're just challenged. As in, the Phillies haven't won anything since 2008. The Sixers haven't won anything since when none of us were alive in '83. Um, what else? The Flyers, they haven't won anything, I think, since I was a 12th grader. And the Eagles been to the Super Bowl twice, but they lost both.
The
So,
Phillies won. We was alive.
yeah, in 2008, the last time Phillies won. But Philly has some dedicated sports fans, through the good, the bad, and the ugly. But Philly does have a drought. I mean, and when I say drought, I mean a real bad drought with not winning anything year after year, year after year. But the fans, they keep coming back, and it's truly remarkable. I mean, people that are fans of Philadelphia sports teams show their loyalty. But outside of that, they are challenged, when it comes to winning things. I mean, teams have good seasons, and then they get to the end, it's like they blow it for some reason or another. It's like, I don't know. But I wouldn't say they're necessarily cursed because, like people say, they're not like they're not Ohio sports teams with the Bengals and the Browns and stuff. But they're they're challenged, winning challenged. I would say they're not cursed. Cursed would be the Browns or Bengals.
I definitely think that my hometown team is a curse. As Andre pointed out, the Soul have been doing well. I just think that like Amina said, that they're challenged. It's just like, we can't really have
Can't have nothing nice in the city.
much of other our players can attest to. But when they start playing, we're a special town, we're a special city, and I really do think we're going to win a lot of games and just make
But
make it
but
make
y'all don't think that sometimes. Well, I know for a fact they have not drafted the best players. Sometimes they draft the flash and not necessarily because I mean there was a lot of great players the Phillies teams could have had, but they didn't draft them. Or they traded them away too soon.
yeah, you're right. You're right. They have they have made some bad choices, and they trade people too early. So, yeah, they do make some bad choices, but you know what it is. They're not cursed. They just made bad decisions.
We had bad GMs. That's what the problem is. Our general managers aren't that great. Billy King, what's the name? What's the guy from the Phillies that was messing us up? Not, I don't want to say what's the call. I love the one that we won this. I'm thinking about the coach, not the GM.
But yeah, I don't think we're cursed. I just think we're challenged, and once we get it together, as the Eagles have shown, and as the Sixers are starting to show, we're gonna be good. Now, I hope we win some titles. I hope the Eagles win this year, or maybe next year, whatever comes first. But I know we're gonna win in the next 2 to 5 years. So I'm excited, and if it's this year, then it's this year. I can't wait, but we'll see. But it's just some trends, man, with the Eagles, with the Sixers. Somebody got to get the injury bug. It seems like every year during the sports year. This year it just seems like it's the Eagles' turn. So I know sports happen, injuries happen. Nobody can avoid injuries, but it just seems like there's a lot on the Eagles this year, and kind of feels different. So, but
Peacefully, people say the Eagles gonna take it this year.
but you know what? We're gonna see how far they get in the playoffs. And we'll see. Man. And we'll see. But yeah, that was our show for the day. And for the weekend, we only got what, 2 more shows, y'all, before the new year. I want to thank Andre, Amina, Reno for making his debut. Hopefully, he'll be on more. Like I said, very very interesting guy, very interesting cat. Good guy to have around. I want to thank him. I want to thank y'all for rocking out with us on this snowy Friday. For those of us on the East Coast,
Check out Bless Watson, BLESSWATSON on iTunes, Apple, Amazon, at the Real Bless Watson or THEREALBLESSWATSON. Thank you.
you always got somebody trying to ride the wave.
Let's
But
be lit.
but
Shameless plug. Shameless plug.
I
but
can't. I
yeah,
can't do.
for shameless plugs, check out WatsonSportsTake.com. Check out Philly Christian Voice.com. That's the new site as well. Amina got a blog. Go ahead, Amina, plug your blog again since we on plugs.
Yes,
Chris,
I'm on WordPress hashtag Amina Speak.
uh, cool.
Bless Watson. Remember, the
Andre,
name is gonna be a household name one day.
If you're not busy Sunday, come check us out. Come check out the Christmas play, CSC Christmas play. Worship the King.
oh yep,
Let's
yep.
worship the King.
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. 47th in Lancaster. If you're in the Philly area. Uh, yeah, man. So yeah, guys, this is gonna be our third to last show of the new year of 2017. Y'all know that next week is Christmas week. We'll have a show. I don't know what day, maybe Friday, Saturday, somewhere in there. But get excited. There's big things happening on the horizon for all of us on this job. Enjoy your weekend. Happy holiday, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah for our Jewish friends. As y'all round out Hanukkah this weekend. Happy New Year's, Happy Holidays, Happy Chinese New Year.
Happy holidays.
Let him sing y'all. Let him sing y'all to the holidays. That's Bless Watson, my brother. So y'all check that out. Have a good weekend. Promise my internet will be better next time. We'll have all this stuff. I don't know what's going on, but deuces, y'all.
Have a great weekend.